Now seeking capital punishment, South Korea's prosecutors have demanded the death penalty for the captain of a ferry that sank in April of this year. Well, over 300 people died, most of them high school students, when the Seoul ferry sank. The disaster shocked the nation. This as the 15 crew on trial were among the first off the ship. Well, Stephen Borovic is in Seoul following events for us. We can cross to him now for an update. Now, Stephen, tell us more about this call for the death penalty from prosecutors.
Well, the captain emerged very early on in this case as a sort of villain in the initial stages when there was a lot of shock and grief here in South Korea. As you mentioned, he was filmed very early getting off the boat. And as such, he was called selfish, and he was criticized very heavily for not making sure that all of the passengers, many of whom were high school students, had been safely gotten off the boat before he did. And this call by the prosecutors seems to me to probably be something of a residual effect of all of that emotion that's been pent up ever since then. We don't really know as of yet if the court will accept this call for the death penalty. So we'll have to wait and see if this is just a temporary thing, if it's just symbolic, or if the court will accept it and a trial on the death penalty will go ahead.
Well, tell us, and how common is capital punishment or the death penalty there in South Korea?
Well, the death penalty here is on the books. It's never been outlawed, but it has not been practiced since 1997. Former President Kim Dae-jung, who was a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, introduced a moratorium on the death penalty on the grounds that it was inhumane. So while there are people who have been sentenced to death and are on death row, there has not been an execution carried out in a number of years. But what's more common, what we do see from time to time, is calls for the death penalty in extraordinarily harsh cases where somebody is being accused of a very serious crime, particularly cases of child molestation or serial killers. But those are cases where emotions are running quite high and there are calls for the death penalty. But those calls tend to peter out. They tend to wane as the emotion of the case goes down. So what we're going to have to do from now, I think, is wait and see if the emotion of the Sewell case fades in that way or if things will continue as they are.